One of the strongest tools a player can have in Apex is having a good drop spot. That place that no matter what, you know that you can land and be confident if contested. But also if you're alone, you know where every single item of loot is in order to get in and out extremely quickly and be on rotations before any other team is. Well, hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest, 8 Second Gaming, and in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down one of my favorite drop spots on World's Edge to show you where you and your team should be landing, the exact route to loot, and what to do if you get contested. This will give you the best setup for your squad in ranked because you'll know more about this drop than all the other teams and can leverage them to do what you want. And where is this drop spot, you may ask? Well, it's one of the strongest places to land on the map, and that is Thermal Station. But just before we hop into things, if you guys find this video useful, please remember to drop a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. Also, if you want to stay up to date with the latest Apex Legends tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash that sub button and ring the bell to be notified when we post a new video. But now some people might be wondering, why Thermal Station? What's so good about it? And that's simple. Number one, there's a ton of loot, so most of the time you'll be walking out fairly kitted and with a good amount of heals. This allows you to focus more on your rotation and not have to worry about looting on the way. Number two is a beacon spawn right inside Thermal, but you also have other options for beacons such as Tree, the south house between Thermal and Tree, Staging, and the cliff on the west side of Staging. So it's a safe assumption that you'll be getting ring knowledge because you have so many beacon options. Number three is even if you get contested, there are tons of options to play around the other people dropping with you, and we will cover that in a second. And number four is it's the edge of the map, so if you do get contested and you have to fight, it is fairly isolated and will allow you to take a safe fight with less risk of getting third-partied. I say less risk because you can never guarantee what other teams will do. Some people are weird, they'll just grab a P2020 and hurry up to third-party you. So now that we have why it's a good drop spot covered, let's go over where everyone should be landing, and let's start off with the easiest one. This is going to be if you are uncontested and don't have to fight off drop. Your team should have a recon legend in order to take advantage of the many beacon spawns that are here. Whomever your recon legend is should land on the circular building that has the beacon on top of it. They can hit the beacon right away and then loot that building they are on. Hit both bins on the balcony and then run down the stairs and hit the bin outside that door. After that, make your way to the center building, grabbing any crafting materials and bins you can along the way. Once you're there and looted the center building, you can begin crafting if you have the option. Now taking a pause right there because you'll be meeting up with your team at this point, so let's talk about the other two. The aggressive legend on the team, your Wraith or Octane, should land on top of the middle building. Having a legend land up top is key, and I will talk more about this and why it should be the aggressive legend when I go over what to do when contested. You'll loot the top part, drop off, loot below, and then all the bins on the outside wall of the building. You can then look to grab crafting materials or other bins along the outer edge of the platform. And the third legend will be dropping on what my team calls the jungle gyms. You may call them something different, but they are on screen right now to show you what I mean. You'll loot both of these and then make your way into the center to loot the bins along the way. At this point, your team will all be in the middle, have crafted if needed, and picked up all the bins on the platform. You then need to pick where you're rotating because that affects what zipline you take up. If you need to rotate hard north, it's best to take the ziplines on the north side towards the two houses on the hill, looting those and then making your way into Staging or the choke to the west if you want a little bit more loot that's safer. If you didn't get a beacon in Thermal, pick whatever choke has a beacon. One can spawn in Staging and on the cliff on the west choke. If both have it, then you need to use some in-game sense to pick a spot. Use your best judgment. If Ring pulls northeast, more towards Fragment or Overlook, take the same zip lines, but this time go towards the Staging choke. You can use the train tracks to rotate and then have high ground to look for a rotation through Harvester. But if the zone pulls directly east, say launch site or dome ending, then your best choice is to use the zip lines towards the train station and loot those two buildings. You can then rotate up the hill into Tree and go from there. Tree also has a beacon if you weren't able to get one in Thermal. But that's if you are uncontested. What happens if another team watches this video and wants to fight you in Thermal? Well, first up, you'll always want to have someone land on height. That way they can look down for your team and give callouts and poke the enemy team when possible. The callouts are most important though, because knowledge in Apex is huge, and knowing exactly where everyone is playing is a very important part to winning fights. And the reason I said to have them be an aggressive legend earlier is because this this will be a highly contested spot and you'll most likely have somebody land with you up there. So you'll want a legend like Wraith or Octane because they are very good in 1v1s and have a good chance of winning the gunfight for you up top. You can do a safe finisher to get your shields back and heal whatever health you may be missing. Then you can start to look over the edge and give callouts for your team, but just let them know what you're doing. The other two teammates land both jungle gyms. These give you a good amount of loot and will get you to the point where you can fight, hopefully. You then use the knowledge from your teammate up top to start working your way into the center, playing off of each other and taking space when you can. If they do try to fight you in mid, then have your teammate up top drop on them to cause a distraction, then all three of you pinch and team fire. With enough practice and coordination, you'll win a lot of these fights here and then can loot up, hit beacon, craft whatever you may need. Now that's only if one team drops there. What happens if there's 2, 3, even 4 other teams dropping with you? And that's even easier. There is a compound of houses to the southwest of Thermal. This is a spot called Narnia. You and your team land there, loot what you need, and then slowly work your way into Thermal and wait for the teams inside to start fighting. Pay attention to where the teams had landed when you're flying in because you'll want to work your way in on the least contested side to get a vantage point to scope out the area and know where the teams are fighting. If you aren't sure of what side is best to pick, then go to the beacon building. The doors give you more protection and it's harder for teams to try and fight you in there. You then have an easier third party and can clean up all the kills. Then take your loot, rotate to circle, and rack up those sweet placement points. If the teams that landed inside don't seem to be fighting and are just wasting each other's time, it isn't worth it to start the fight. Use the balloon to fly over top of everyone and just make a rotation out. If you start the fight, you'll get third party and probably end up dying, so avoid being the first one to fight at all costs. There are many rotation options out from Narnia, so just use one of those. But that's gonna be all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really like making these loot path videos, so I'm hoping you enjoyed them and find them useful. If you want to see more like these in the future, please drop a comment down below and let me know what POIs you'd like to see. World's Edge has a ton of strong points of interest that have tons of loot in them, but most people don't know the efficient ways to loot and end up being slow or they miss loot on the way out. Don't let that be you. But if you did find this video useful and do want to see more like this in the future, please drop a thumbs up. It shows that people want to see more and helps out the channel. Plus, if you haven't yet, go smash that subscribe button and ring the bell to know when we post a new video. We do daily, highly educational Apex Legends content that you do not want to miss out on. Thank you all for watching. Once again, I'm 8 Second Gaming and I will see you in the next one.